Hey guys, welcome to Project Metal Music's YouTube channel with your host Elio, and we are here with Bart. Welcome, Bart.
Thank you so much, Eli. Ella, it's so nice to be on the show. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure, my pleasure. Bart, could you introduce yourself and what you do within the band The Ruins?
Sure. Yeah. My name's Bart Robley, and I am the drummer and kind of one of the founding members for a band called The Ruins, which is actually a side project of mine. I was talking to Elle about this before we went live for anybody watching or sees this archived on YouTube. This is a side project of mine. I play my primary group that is my working group is a band called the Sam Morrison Band, and The Ruins was kind of born uh, in 2020 during COVID. I was going through some stuff in my life that was dark and not really, I wasn't in a good place. And as a lot of people who are creative do, we write and we create out of dark places. I think some of the greatest music, some of the greatest novels, some of the greatest movies are created from within from dark places. And so I had a lot of songs that I wanted to get out. And a dear friend of mine is a guitar player and singer. His name's Blackthorn. Great guitar player. Um, I met up with him and told him what I was going through and explained the entire situation to him. And he goes, "Well, let's do an album about it." I told him I had a bunch of lyrics and a few songs, some chordal things, but I wanted to bounce them off of him. And so that's how The Ruins was born. And yeah, so that's what I do. I'm the drummer, and for it, I'm one of the primary songwriters, and I'm also the producer and engineer for it. I engineer the drum tracks, but I'm the producer and mixer for the project as well.
Cool, cool. Yeah, so let's dive into some questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, as a kid, what were you listening to?
Well, as a kid, believe it or not, I'm going to really age myself here. The first concert that I saw, the thing that hooked me, whereas like I've got to be a musician, was Elvis Presley. My mom was the epitome of an Elvis fan, and I was 5 years old, and she took me to see Elvis at the Denver Coliseum. And at the time, I didn't. I just remember I knew all the music because she always had it playing in the house. I mean, it was always playing, and I didn't know what was happening around me at a live concert. But when I remember, he had a comedian that came out and opened for him, and then the Sweet Inspirations, which were his backup singers, they came out and opened up the show, and they basically did like the greatest hits of the time, right? And Elvis's band backed him up. And then Elvis came out, and when he came out, it was like a bomb went off. It was like, I don't know what is happening, but it's amazing. Shortly after that, there's a really famous concert called Elvis Aloha from Hawaii. At the time, it was the most watched live television broadcast ever, broadcast via around the world via satellite from Honolulu. And there was a camera right behind Ronnie Tutt, who was Elvis's drummer, right behind his um, drum set, and he had this long hair and a beard. And I remember watching his hi hat like go up and down. And I, being a little kid, I'm like, well, is he doing that, or is it automatic? How does that work? And I was smitten by the whole thing. So that's how I became a drummer. That's where I first grabbed a hold of the drums, and then from there it progressed into uh, I was of the era of Kiss. I was a huge Kiss fan, and then from Kiss I got into Led Zeppelin, and I liked everything. I like commercial music. I like REO Speedwagon, all that stuff of that era. But then when I got into the heavy stuff, I really when Ronnie James Dio joined Black Sabbath. I know a lot of people think that's sacrilege, right? Because the early Sabbath stuff is like where it's at, and the first Black Sabbath record is phenomenal. We all know that. my taste gravitated more towards like Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules. I love those two records. They were just phenomenal. I thought Dio sang so good on those records. And Vinny Appice, the drummer, was just phenomenal. So that's kind of the stuff that I listened to growing up. And so I was a child of that era, and that's what got me started with really cut my teeth in music and in drumming.
Cool, cool. Was your mother a huge influence on you, like growing up
My
musically
mom,
wise? Yeah,
my mom,
or
yeah.
was yeah? Um, was there anybody else who was an influence on you, like getting into music?
You know what? There wasn't really anybody in my family that was a musician. Um,
Yeah.
but on my father's side of the family, it was very artistic. My grandmother on my dad's side is an amazing painter, and she could draw like it was phenomenal. I remember she came and visited one time when I was a little kid, and she got some charcoal and a piece of paper, and she drew a picture of my dad, and it was unbelievable. I mean, it was like it was a photo of him. It was phenomenal. And she was a really good watercolor impressionist. And then her other son, my uncle Brian, incidentally, you can look him up, Brian Robley Studios .com. He's an airbrush artist. And he did really well for himself. He did a lot of work for Reebok tennis shoes, did a lot of work for the Olympics and the NFL, and an amazing artist. So I think there's an artistic side to my family. My other uncle, my uncle Barry, is an incredible architect. He helped me build the studio that I'm sitting in right now in my house. Uh, and he's which and I think that architecture and music and painting, drawing, it all kind of goes hand in hand. It's a creative thing, and I loved it. Anything creative I love to do. Like I love to cook. I think cooking is creative. So musically, not so much, but creative and artistically, yes. So it's like a long answer to your short question.
Yeah, yeah, cool, cool. Yeah, yeah. Architecture, any sort of like artwork or stuff like that, it does go sort of like go hand in hand, because it all sort of like goes on. Uh, if you say scientific wise, anyway, it's all to do with mathematics.
Right. Yeah, you nailed it. 100%. Um, and one of the things that I've been afforded is that I've been able to travel a lot because of being a musician and being able to earn my living as a musician. Uh, and I have to wear a lot of hats to do that. But I earn my living as a musician, as a performer, a studio musician, uh, writer, and whatnot. At any rate, I digress. When I've been to Europe, I remember what we were just talking about before we went on. We played through the Balkans years ago during the Bosnia Croatian War, and we played in Hungary. And one of the things that was the architecture and the age of the architecture was, because I'm from America, nothing over here is more than 200 years old, 250 years old. And over there, you see these, oh, that castle was built 1,000 years ago. Like, oh my God, it's just phenomenal. It's so beautiful
Yeah.
to go see that stuff and get to live and see those types of things. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. Yeah, I know. Europe's got some amazing, amazing buildings and architecture. Um, yeah, because some of the stuff is over here is around about what 2.5, 3,000 years old.
Yeah.
Easy.
And easy. And some of the stuff that I've always been really attracted to, like churches and cathedrals, because of their, I mean, it's a house of worship. They all look so ominous. You look at them and it's like, wow. And the fact that, it comes back to the simplest of thought. I think to myself, somebody had to build that thing. Somebody had to get out some mortar and water and mix it up and stack it up and make that thing. It's
Yeah,
phenomenal, and I love that stuff. Yeah, very
yeah.
cool.
Cool. So, You mentioned earlier that the drummer for Elvis was a big influence on you as a child. Was there any other influences on you to see
Oh yeah,
to
I
actually see?
yeah, I was probably like if I and I think it's almost a cliche for rock drummers especially. Um, but John Bonham, I mean, my God, he just his feel and his touch on the drums and the way he approached the drum set was so phenomenal. And it's, like I say, I mean, everybody still swears by the guy. Um, there's a lot of jazz influence in me too. I'm not a jazz drummer. Like I could, if I got called to do a jazz gig, I could fake my way through the gig. But if it was like a real high end thing, I'd be like, hey, call my buddy Jeremy. He's the guy for the job. But if it was a one off, I could get through the gig, no problem. Um, but I love stuff like, God, Peter Erskine and Jeff Hamilton and all those guys in the jazz era. But really for rock and roll, Bonham was it. And I think I'm so influenced by him because when you think about Led Zeppelin, that era of music, when you're talking like Led Zeppelin, before that, like the Beatles and the Stones, rock and roll was still relatively new. It wasn't, and it kind of morphed into heavy metal, but it was new. It was a new art form. I mean, so what was before that? It was the jazz era. It was the big band era. Rhythm and blues, which came from America, which made its way over to Europe and influenced the drummer or the musicians over there. And I know Bonham was highly influenced by a lot of the Delta blues drummers from the South of America, and he played with a lot of that swagger, if you will. Um, and his touch on the drums, the way he tuned them, everything was phenomenal. And then as I got older, like I said, I was really a Kiss freak. I loved the early stuff with Peter Criss. He played a lot like Gene Krupa, had that triplet feel and swung. Um, and then, of course, my teenage years, Alex Van Halen. I mean, my God, he was so innovative in every aspect of drumming, as his brother was in playing the guitar. The Van Halens were just, what a great band that was. So and man, I can sit here for hours and go on. I mean, I can totally geek out on drumming. I just got, matter of fact, just what's today, Wednesday. I just got back from Indianapolis at the PASIC convention, the Percussive Art Society convention back in Indianapolis, and I just got back from that. It's a big trade show for drums and drummers and drum educators, and it was really incredible. It was a lot of fun. So we definitely geeked out on drums back there.
Yeah, we got Fred Fisher in the chat there saying,
Fred Fisher. Fred.
"But
Okay, let me tell you about my friend Fred. My friend Fred Fisher. Try to say that 5 times fast. My buddy Fred is salt of the earth. Fred lives in Boise, Idaho, and is a phenomenal drummer, an amazing, amazing drummer, amazing drum educator, and just a great all around dude. So, Fred, thank you for watching. Actually, I think he's just stalking me on the internet is what's happening.
yeah, cool." We've got a comment from a good friend to the channel from Carbon and Stardust. She says drums are the heart of the it is Patty Nell. Drums are the heart of the music, which it
Yeah,
is.
it
Which it
really is.
is.
And being a drummer, yeah, I just wrote a book, and if anybody is interested in this, I'm let me see here. Let me think about this. I'm published 6, 7 times, published author. I just came out with a book called The Rhythmic Journey. If you want a digital copy of that, you can go to Hudson Music, like the Hudson River, and in there look up, just type in Bart Robley and the book will come up digitally. If you want a hard copy of it, you can buy it on my website and I will autograph it and mail it to you. And the whole book, the premise of the book is about how rhythm is all around us, right? And I tell every one of my drum students, I tell everybody, if you go like this and you don't feel a pulse, you've got a really major problem, right? You've got a really
Yeah.
major problem. Well, if the song doesn't have a pulse to it, right? If the song doesn't have a breath to it, okay? Oh my God, the song it's stiff and it feels, it's just not good. But if it has a pulse to it, and it has a swagger and it breathes, it's it does. It's what propels the song forward. And really, it all starts with the drums. Everything, when you go in a recording studio, the first thing that you cut are the drums, and you build upon that. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. 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 Fred, I said, says, I love all things Bart.
He loves all things. Fred really is a great guy. Fred just had an incident back actually in Indianapolis, where I just was at PASIC. Poor guy. He's when you get to Indianapolis, it's kind of downtown Indy. It's pretty small, and he was at a convention with his son. For his kids are killer drummers too. His one son just got uh where I'm from, Colorado. He just got a job and moved to Colorado to play with the Blue Devils. I'm Fred. Tell me which one it is, please. And snare drum player, and so his whole family's into drumming and phenomenal drummers. Poor guy's back there at a drumming convention, a snare drum convention, and he breaks his leg. So he's kind of been out of commission. He's still teaching and stuff like that, but he hasn't been out touring for a while and stuff. So my heart goes out to him, because I know if I stay at home for too long, my brain starts going in weird places. So, I got to be on the road.
Yeah. He says, Fred says, Blue
Blue Knight.
Knights.
Yeah, Blue Knights. Always the Blue Knights, the Blue Devils, the Red Devils, the Green Tornadoes. They're all the same name. I always get them messed up.
Yeah. Carbonized Stardust says, a single bass drum makes something primal, just rise up in my soul. Drums are powerful.
Yeah. And I tell you what, one of the best single bass drum players out there, I mentioned him already, John Bonham. If you listen, some of my favorite tracks from Led Zeppelin to listen to Bonham's Foot, a lot of people will point to Good Times, Bad Times. I mean, that's a classic. That's a great piece of music. But one of my favorite drum parts is a song called Out on the Tiles. It's from Led Zeppelin 3. And his foot was just so unbelievably good. And then to geek out a little bit, the bass drum that he played, it was a big 26-inch around by 14-inch deep drum. And there's just something about the air, the way the air moves on a shallower drum. Like this drum right here, this is it's a 20-inch drum by 18 inches deep. I'm going to see if I can get this camera right here. I've got a bunch of cameras in my studio here. Let me see if I can get the right one. Watch, I'm going to go the wrong one. I guarantee you. Yeah, there's the bass drum camera. All right. So I have double bass. So she said a single bass, but I've got a double bass. And then I would have played the floor tom there, but that's my mouse pad right now. And then this one is, there you go. There's a sky cam and the lights, and so, but something about that kick drum, right? It just sounds incredible, and it records really good, because here in the studio, one of the things about the studio that I'm in right now is it's my teaching studio. That's why the cameras are all over the place. But it's also this computer that I'm talking to here is my teaching computer, and then over here I have my Mac, and that's my recording computer. So hey, if anybody needs drum tracks, let me know. I record drum tracks for people and send them all over the world. So if you need some drum tracks, you need something recorded, hit me up at my website, bartrobley.com, and we'll talk.
Cool. Yeah. check Bart out on his website and his Instagram and Rust, yeah, the ruins and on Instagram and on Facebook as well.
Right, and on
So
Facebook and YouTube as well. Yeah, you can check me out there.
cool. Yeah, I know you've said your main band is the Sam Morrison band, and
Correct.
you did the Ruins is like side project.
Hmm.
Were you in any other bands prior joining the bands?
Oh yeah, I've been doing this like my entire life, and really kind of a weird story. I moved to California in 1989, and I was in this kind of, as we all have these stories, right? The guys that never made it to the big time all have the "I almost got it" story. I was in a band that was kind of a Sunset Strip staple, right at the end of that era, right when the Sunset Strip was dying off and Seattle was coming in. I was in a band called Blue Max, and we were kind of this proggy, artsy metal thing, you know. Um, it was a good band, and then I got in a band. That band kind of went. It had run its course, and we did all the Sunset Strip thing, you know, the Roxy, the Whiskey, what used to be Gazzari's, which is the club that Van Halen used to play a lot. So I played in that band, and then from there I was in a band called War Crime. And after that, faded away, got into the Sam Morrison band, and been with him ever since. And one of the guys that was in War Crime was in the Sam Morrison band for a stint, and a lot of the music from the the first Ruins album, Scavenger, is some music shedding some of the stuff that I went through from a, uh, you know, a relationship gone bad with a guy that I was in a band with for a long time, because those things happen, and so I wrote about it again. What better way to get that stuff off your chest? You can go if you go to my YouTube channel. There's a Ruins YouTube channel, but if you go to Bart Robley, there's a couple songs on there that the videos are fantastic for. Really am happy with those songs. One called Bone Saw. The song Bone Saw, the guitar solo in the song is Stevie D, who is the guitar player for Buck Cherry. So if you go and you watch that video, that's Stevie D. There's a lot of stills in there that we got okayed from him to put in there. Then the other song that he helped out a lot with, Stevie D helped out with a lot on, was a song called Fade Away. And he co-produced and played all the guitars and the bass and the percussion on that tune, the hand percussion. I played drums, and then the vocals were laid down on top of it. But that's all Stevie D from Buck Cherry. And then the latest song, we have a video for it. The one that's doing really good for us right now, a song called Bone on Bone. And the guitar solo on that is Jeff Duncan from Armored Saint. He played the guitar solo on that one.
Cool.
Yeah. So
Cool.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I have been in other bands, and that's a little bit about the Ruins and how it was born.
Cool. So, what has the Ruins been up to, especially over the last 12 months or so?
So what we did was we have a new singer, Todd McTavish, and Todd is I met Todd a number of years ago on a gig in Laughlin, Nevada. His band, Judge Jackson, and the Sam Morrison band, we were playing this all day long thing called the Laughlin River Run. It's a big motorcycle show, and that's where I met Todd. His band would play, and then our band would play, and his band would play, our band would play, and he and I just got along like that. He's just a great dude and a fantastic singer, and really a charismatic frontman. So I've been writing and working on the new album, and we have two singles from the new album that have been released. We got a little record deal with a Canadian record label. Called Metal Incorporated. It's through Soda Records, but it's Metal Incorporated, a great record label to be with. They've done really well by us, and so we've released two of the singles so far, that's the way they wanted to do it, was they wanted to release them a single at a time and then put the whole package together as an album. So that's what we're doing. So we released Bone on Bone, and then we released a song called Shane. Um, the next one is going to be a song called Shine on Me. That will be released at the first part of the year. And so we're finishing up the album right now. Pretty much everything's in the can with it, except for there's a couple vocal tracks, a few backing vocal tracks that we still got to get recorded, but it's pretty much done. And we're going to start rehearsals probably at the beginning of December to middle of December, and then into January, and we're going to take it out live next year and start doing some shows, mostly around the Southern California area. A couple places out in Vegas that are that we have contacts with. We're probably going to go out there and play a couple of shows and a couple of one-offs, but looking forward to getting that out live. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Cool, cool. Could you tell us a bit about the two singles that you released already, Bone on Bone and Sheer?
Yeah, so Bone on Bone, again, it was kind of like the Scavenger album, the first record. That was, and I'm just being honest with you, that record, there's a lot of anger in that record, right? And so, and the whole album is almost like a concept album. It's this whole anger thing, and then there's a redemption thing at the end, and it's a concept album, right? So Bone on Bone was kind of like a hangover from Scavenger. That was the first one we released, and it was kind of like, if you didn't hear me the first time, hear it again. So we put that one out, and having Jeff record the solo for it was incredible. I mean, the guy's such a ripping guitar player. And what a sweetheart of a guy. Got in touch with him and told him what I was doing, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I'll cut it for you." So he cut the solo, and it was funny because we were on tour, and it was some, when you're on tour, it's like Groundhog's Day. It's just the same thing over and over and over. And we didn't have a show one day, and we were flying, and we'd been flying all day. We get to the hotel, we get checked in. Everybody's tired. I just want to go to sleep, and I have my laptop with me, and I check my email, and I had my external with me, and so I had the track Bone on Bone with me, and Jeff had sent me the guitar solo. I'm like, well, I guess I know what I'm doing tonight. I'm not getting any sleep. So I put the guitar solo in the middle of a tour, and it came out great. And then the song Shane. Shane is a song I had, we all write again from things we've been through and what we've done and how our life has shaped us, I think that's where the best songs are written from. And I had a cousin when I was 10, so he was 8, and he drowned. His name was Shane. And when you get to a certain age in life and you kind of start looking back at your life, you remember things and you remember people. And I always wondered, because he was such a great kid, we were friends when we were kids, and you always kind of, gosh, I wonder what would have happened with Shane. What would have happened? What would that guy's life have been? And so I wrote the song Shane about him, and it's doing well for us. And my family was really happy with it. They were like, "Man, that was really cool. You did that," and they liked it. And that, I think, is what was most important to me, is that I wanted to do his memory justice. And so that's what that song's about.
Cool, cool. So you mentioned that you've pretty much recorded the whole album. How many songs are there on the album? Going to be on the album when you do release it?
Yeah, right now we're looking at releasing 12 tunes. We have 3 more that we're working on that we're like, these songs might, if depending on how they shape up, they might make it to the record. So we haven't for sure said it's 12 songs. It might be 15. But like I said, for the most part, those 12 are pretty much in the can, but these other 3 are on the side and we're tweaking them. And if they come out good, then it'll be 15. So, and we don't have a hard release date on it, which is kind of one of the cool things about working with Metal Incorporated. I thought for sure they were going to want the whole package, right? And the president of the company, his name's Sam, super cool guy. He's from Canada, and we talked, and he goes, "No, man, let's do it a single at a time, and I want you to do it at your pace so that you're happy with the music and the way it comes out," which is nice because you hear all these horror stories of back in the day when we're like, you got to get an album out now, and the industry's changed so much that I think there's more artistic freedom in that. So I don't want to say we're taking our time, but we're not dragging our feet. I mean, we're really working diligently on the album.
Cool, cool, cool. So you mentioned that you're going to be releasing several more singles.
Yep.
How many more singles are you going to be releasing?
Well, we'll probably do, realistically, I bet we'll probably do 2 or 3 more before we do the package. Originally, the way it was talking is like, well, let's just put it out a song at a time. And that wasn't between the band. That was between myself and Sam Soda from Soda Records, But I really think that it's going to be, we'll probably do 2, maybe 3 more. The song Shine On Me is going to be the next one. The one after that is a song called That Dog. And then the song after that one's called None of This. And those particular songs I know for sure are going to be released as singles. And I think by that point we'll be kind of, okay, we're done releasing singles. Let's just put the album out and put the whole thing out.
Cool, cool. First, just going to give a thank you to Jenna for the generous PayPal. It's much appreciated. Very, very much appreciated. So thank you so much for that. So yeah, it'll be great. It's greatly appreciated. So thank you for that, Jenna. Yeah. So let me see there. Let me see. So is there any going to be any sort of like merchandise for the new album coming out?
Yeah, we're going to have, matter of fact, already, if you go to our website, the ruinscaliforniaband.com, we already have like some t-shirts. And you know what? A lot of people still want CDs. Like we still are getting, we haven't done the vinyl thing. I know that's kind of coming back around. I saw a lot of guys at PASIC, that drummers that had albums out and they had vinyl. We might do vinyl. I don't know, but we're definitely going to do CDs. What I have found, and this happens a lot, where people will, after a show, and incidentally with Sam Morrison Band, Sam's so cool. He lets me put the Ruins stuff on the Sam Morrison Band merch table, so we sell CDs there. And I've had numerous times people will come up to me and say, I don't even have a CD player anymore, but I want your autograph on this. It's a keepsake. You sign an autograph on a CD, and people want it for that. So
cool.
Yeah.
We have a sort of like a request from Marcella. She asks, is he going to play a drum solo?
I wasn't planning on it today, but I can probably conjure a little something. How about like a little sort of sing something? I was talking about jazz. How's that?
That was cool. That was really cool. Thank you.
I'll sit here all day if you let me. You just wind me up and watch me go.
Yeah. Yeah. So got like a lot of thanks there, Bart. Yeah, thank you. So
yeah, you bet.
So, have you got any sort of like plans on putting the new album onto vinyl?
We have actually we've talked about putting the Scavenger record on vinyl because I can't, whenever you do something, you don't really realize if it's going to work, you don't know if something's going to hit. And there's a song from the Scavenger record titled Mud Dog. Well, Mud Dog got signed to one of the largest sync licensing warehouses in Los Angeles, Crucial Music for music and movies, television, whatnot. And we're like 20,000 streams or something on that tune, which isn't a lot, in the grand scheme of things. But because of the success of some of the songs on there, Bone Saws at like I think 15 or 20,000 as well. We're thinking about putting out on vinyl. Yeah. So to answer the question, yeah, and I think what it is it's determined by, okay, well, it's working. People are digging it, so let's put it out on vinyl too. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, cool, cool. By the looks of it, you got I know that I know myself and a good few people in the chat there do love vinyl records.
Yeah.
So yeah, it will be
You know, a lot
good
of the
idea.
a lot of the audiophile people, what I'm finding is that audiophile people like that are really into the old school stuff, like the real old school sounds with the big speakers and everything like that. They want vinyl, and I have to agree with them. I think vinyl sounds better. It's warmer. It's definitely it's not digitized. It's a real sound. I think it's as real as you can get without sitting in the room with a band. I have a record player in the vinyl record player in the living room, and I love listening to old vinyl records. They just sound fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, it's the same. It's the same. I've got like massive. Well, I wouldn't say massive, but I've got like a turntable. Uh, like a 500-watt stereo to play through, and the sound is absolutely amazing.
Oh
Absolutely
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. You have
So,
like you got like big giant JBL speakers or clips or something like that?
yeah, I've got it's the stereo system that I've got is it's a Technics.
Oh yeah,
Uh, so
yeah.
it's like yeah, it might be 21 years old, but it's still pumps out like a brilliant sound,
You know,
brilliant
I
sound.
th- it's sad because that's I think the way music is supposed to be heard, but nowadays everybody listens to it on their phone or on little tiny earbuds and whatnot, and you don't get that I don't know, you don't get that punch in the chest,
Yeah, yeah,
that you get from a big stereo system. It's like going to a concert. You go to a concert and the drummer walks up behind the kit and he goes ba boom and it goes poof poof. You're like, oh my god, we're about ready to start something here. That's good stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was at a album launch last Friday, and the main, basically all the drummers were literally I was standing pretty much in front of the stage, and I was like, have you ever seen those uh, clips or like cartoons or you think you just always see like people going like basically go like that, and you
Yeah.
think that's just the drummer.
Yeah. 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 It's one of my favorite things. It's so I've been doing this for so long, and every drummer that I'm friends with, like Fred Fisher, I don't know if he's still watching, but when we all talk about this, when I go to a concert and I sit down and I look at the stage, I'm like, what kind of drums is he playing? And I kind of geek out on it. And the second the concert starts, it's just like, holy cow. I love that sound of drums coming through through a big PA system. This has been what, a couple of years ago now, but remember when Motley Crue? It was Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Joan Jett, and Poison did that big stadium tour, that big world stadium tour, and we got tickets to go to it in Las Vegas. And I hadn't been to a stadium concert, like a stadium concert, in a long time. I'd been to a lot of, arena concerts, but I hadn't seen a concert in a stadium in a number of years. And we were literally like directly, the stage was here, we were here. We're like straight back from the stage. And and I couldn't believe how good every band sounded, because again, the mathematic thing you were talking about, like with the architecture and stuff, right? There's mathematical equations that go into mixing sound, and I just couldn't believe how good the sound was live. The live sound systems for big shows like that has gotten so good, and it's so over the top that it was really it was a great concert. Just the sound alone was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I've been in that. I've been in like sort of like big arenas. I've been in stadium show. I've seen stadium shows. I've seen outdoor shows, and I've also been in like tiny venues. And yeah, the sound systems have got so much better from about
Yeah,
ever since I started going to gigs back in the early 90s.
right,
So
right. Well, and
uh,
there's one of the things that one of the drummers I had mentioned a while ago was Carmine Appice, and playing for Dio and on all those Black Sabbath records and everything. And one of the things, Carmine's big thing, he's really a rudimental drummer. So one of the things he's really big on is like when he starts a song, and that's not Carmine, that's me playing with some drags in there, but he always drags the stick on the drum, meaning that that's how he'll start a downbeat. It's not just it's and a lot of times that wouldn't translate years ago, right? You'd go see a band and you wouldn't hear you just hear the blam, you'd hear the big note, right? Well, the PA systems and there's a lot of technical stuff that goes into it, gating and compression and all this stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but it really, that happens now. You can hear that. You can hear the little nuances of, like you said, you went to that club gig and you're like, that's just the drummer. You can hear that, you can hear it now. And from a drummer standpoint, that's gold. That's gold because, we all sit here, every one of us, for hours, going, trying to get your sticks to do what you want them to do. And now that it's feasible, that it's projected out into the arena and you can hear that, man, come on, that's just awesome. That makes it all
yeah,
worth it. Yeah, it really
yeah,
makes it worth
yeah,
it. And
yeah. It
usually
does. It
what
does.
happens is the bigger the room, the more the small things get lost. So now that they're not lost, it's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 So um, you mentioned earlier on that you're sort of like starting to put things together especially within the rehearsal room, to um, get ready to go out on tour with the new album.
Yeah.
Um, have you got any sort of like confirmed dates, or are you just in the early stages of
We're
like putting the
yeah,
two together?
yeah, we're still in the early stages of putting the tour together. What realistically is going to happen is, after we get a few rehearsals under our belt and we get a set list put together, because we'll be pulling some of the new songs and some of the stuff from the Scavenger record. We will probably more than likely book a show away from home. We'll probably do something in Vegas There's a club out there called Vamps. I played at it once with Sam Morrison Band, but it's a good club, and we have some connections there. So we'll probably do something at Vamps, I would imagine, to start the tour, and then probably do something in Hollywood. Probably do like more than likely the Whiskey or the Roxy. Probably the Whiskey, maybe the Troubadour, but probably the Whiskey, and then see where it leads us from there. There's a lot of great mid-size club theaters venues around the Orange County area, which we're all from out here, where originally where the guys are from. Todd lives up in the valley. There's some stuff up there, and then just wherever it takes us, hoping that Soda Records is going to be behind it a little bit with some tour support and stuff like that. But yeah, that's definitely the plan.
Yeah, cool. So when you do get everything sorted out with like the rehearsals and you got financial backing, would you sort of like tour the US and go up into Canada or down into South America, or even come over to Europe to tour with the album?
If we have financial backing, yeah, for sure, we would definitely do that. One of the things I think that every artist wants to do, obviously, is tour and go to Canada and South America and go over to Europe. That's always that's always the goal. We have to kind of see what the future holds and see if there's some financial backing there for that, and if there's show support for that. But most definitely, if those things come together, we would definitely do that. Yes.
Yeah, cool. So, where can we discussed like earlier on with Instagram and Facebook? Have you? Where can people find you on other social media, such as like Bandcamp or like SoundCloud or Spotify?
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I have it all on my phone right here. I'm like everybody else. I'm not one of those guys. I don't want to be the guy that walks around bumping into walls on the phone, but I'm going to give it to you all from here. So I don't want to get it wrong. So if you want to look up, I'll say you can Google Bart Robley. You can Google that, and all my stuff comes up. It'll take you to my website. If you're interested in my books, or you want to buy a hard copy of the CD from the first CD of The Ruins, I have them for sale there. You can buy them. We'll get them off to you. If you're interested in drumming, drum lessons, all that sort of stuff, same thing. Go to my website. Everything's there. If you go to Facebook, it's just facebook.com/the ruins.california. And you'll find it. You'll see the logo there. Instagram, Instagram.com, the Ruins California, same thing. And then if you want to see the videos, same thing, go to the Ruins on YouTube. You can also go to, and if you go to my YouTube, I'm going to tell you the same thing everybody does. It says right here on the bottom, hit the subscribe and like button, ring the bell, all that sort of stuff. Always do that for us. But if you go to my YouTube, just Bart Robley, you're going to get everything. I've got all the Ruins stuff on there. Plus I've got drum lessons, and I've got all my drumming stuff. I got music business stuff. I have my new podcast now. The Drummer's Education Connection. That's not there. That's its own YouTube channel, Drummer's Education Connection. But my old podcast, I used to have a podcast called The Bart Factor, and those episodes are also on my YouTube channel. I'm in the process right now of, and it hopefully by the end of the year I'll have it all cleaned up. On my personal YouTube channel, I'm going to have like band videos, drum lessons, music business lessons, because a big part of my, like I said earlier in the podcast, I have a lot of different hats that I have to wear as a professional musician to make it work. A big part of it is touring. A big part of it is I do recording sessions here in my studio. A big part of it is that I do drum lessons from all over the world right here in my studio. You saw the cameras. So there's a lot of different hats I have to wear, so I want to clean up my YouTube channel so they all kind of reflect those different things. But all the Ruins videos are on there. My favorite song from that record actually is an acoustic song. It's very, I think it's very Led Zeppelin-ish. It's a song called Wax On, Wax Off. That's my favorite song from the Scavenger record. And there's a video up there for that. So you can check all that stuff out on my YouTube channel. And then, of course, okay, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, anywhere you can get music, anywhere you can stream music, look up the Ruins, and you can listen to the Ruins. The two latest songs from the new album that hasn't come out yet are Bone on Bone. That's the one with Jeff Duncan, and then and Shane, and that one doesn't have a guest star on it.
Cool. So this is probably going to be my final question. Unless anybody wants to ask questions in the chat there, feel free. My last question is: any advice for people who want to become a musician?
Yeah, I get that question all the time, and I'm going to use something that happened in our conversation today as a perfect example of what to do. And that's my friend Fred Fisher, who chimed in and watched the show. If he's still watching or watched a little bit of it, network with people. Make sure that music is you can create music on your own, right? I could sit here on my computer and I could make music and put it out into the world. And I do that. I do a lot of little drum things and stuff for sync licensing. I call them SNID bits, and I have some stuff out there where it goes into movies and television and what. But I think that music is such a collaborative thing that it is not about the individual. It's about the greater sum of the whole. So I definitely think that you need to collaborate with people. I think you need to be open-minded. And then there's almost a part of it that it's taken for granted that you can play your instrument. If somebody's reaching out to you to play, they're expecting you to do the job well, right? You've got to be able to do the job well. But I think the collaborative thing is so important. And then if you do find yourself, and this I feel is probably one of the things that is the most important, and we talked about this a lot at the PASIC show this weekend. Again, it's kind of taken for granted that you can play your instrument, right? You've worked hard, you've put in the 10,000 hours, you do the practice, you watch the videos, you sweat it out in the practice room. The part where everybody forgets about it is the most important thing, is when you do get the gig and you are at the club, you're at the concert venue, you're on tour, you're in a bus, you're in a hotel room, whatever it is, wherever music takes you, you have to get along with the other people. It's everybody says it's all about the hang, right? You can be the greatest guitar player in the world. You can be the greatest drummer in the world, but if you're a jerk and nobody wants to be around you, you're not going to work, because the 90 minutes you're on stage, when you go to a concert, you're witnessing the years of hard work. The 90 minutes that are on the stage, that's the icing on the cake. But living on a tour bus with a guy, or just getting to the gig on time, a local bar gig with the guy, that's the part that nobody sees. And that's the part where, you've got to be able to get along with people. And that's incredibly important, I think.
Yeah.
So that's my advice. That's my advice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sound advice there. Sound advice. Yeah. Thank you for that. Like one of my mods, the head moderator for the channel, Lisa Boo, she normally asks this question: what is your favorite venue to play at?
Oh my God, there's so many, but right now there's there's two places here in America that jump into my mind right away. The first one is a place in Prescott, Arizona. It's spelled Prescott, but it's Prescott. And if you're from Arizona and you say it wrong, they'll tell you about it. It's called the Elks Theater. Now, a lot of people think of the Elks Lodge. It's not. It's an old theater, and it's an exact replica of the Ford Theater, which is the theater where Abraham Lincoln was assassinated by John. So it's an exact replica, and it is unbelievably cool. The acoustics are great. The people that work there are fantastic. Everything is amazing. And then in Indiana, there's a place called the Lincoln Amphitheater, and I just now realized this. It's where Abraham Lincoln spent his youth. I didn't equate the two until just now, but it's where Abraham Lincoln spent his youth, and it's this big outdoor amphitheater. Matter of fact, if you go to my Facebook page right now, I think, let me double check before I tell people this. If you go to my Facebook page right now, and the back picture is taken from the Lincoln Amphitheater at a concert there, and since nobody else is on stage, I'm assuming it's from my drum solo because I'm sitting up there by myself. But that's the not the Lincoln Amphitheater, but the Lincoln Amphitheater, and then Prescott is the one that is the Elks Theater, which is the same as the Ford Theater. And I really like those two places. And again, it's the venues are great, but the people that run the place are spectacular. They're wonderful people. And it's just, again, the 90 minutes we're on stage is fantastic, but the hang before the gig is what it's all about.
Yeah, cool. But thank you so much for coming on. It's been a total pleasure.
Well, the pleasure's all mine. I thank you so much, and I thank you for giving the Ruins a platform to me a platform to talk about the Ruins because we said this before we got on, and I know you got to go, and I know the podcast is over, but one of the things you told me how you started your podcast, and how music saved you. And man, you don't know how many times as a musician you hear things like that. Music saved you. Music kills the savage beast or soothes the savage beast. Music is a deep thing. If you think about it right now, you get in your car, you turn on the radio, music magically appears. You go to the store, you're walking through the store or the grocer, music magically appears. If a child is born, you have a shower and you celebrate with music. When a loved one passes away and you go to the funeral, music is playing. Music is there from the cradle to the grave, and it's there at every part in our life, right? You remember your high school friends because of a song you heard, and it's very important. It's very deep, and so I thank you for giving me a platform to talk about my music with the Ruins and talk about the Sam Morrison Band and everything like that. I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, sort of like have you got any final words before we start wrapping things up?
No, if shameless self plug, go to my website, buy my book, go to Hudson Music, buy my book, go to my website, buy a Ruin CD. I'll have it in the mail to you wherever you live in the world. We'll figure that part out on the shipping. If you're a musician and you need drum tracks, hit me up. I record drum tracks all the time and send them out. You need voiceover work. I do a lot of voiceover work here in the studio. So there's my shameless self plug. There's a lot of great microphones in here, and the room sounds really good. So if you need any of that stuff, I'd love to collaborate or work with you or record parts for you if so desired.
Yeah, please, guys, go check out Bart on his website there, bartrobley.com, and check him out on socials as well. Marcella has just asked, are you in LA?
Am I where?
LA, Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah. I'm you know what, Marcella? I'm just outside of LA. I lived in Fullerton for 21 years, and I just bought this house in Eastvale. If you don't know where that is, it's Eastvale's one side of the street and Ontario's on the literally on the other side of the street. So it's right there. But from I go to LA like all the time. It's, you know, without traffic, it's 30 minutes away. With traffic, it's 3 months away, you know, LA traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the LA area. So if you need me, I'm easy to find.
Cool. Cool. She says I've been to Fullerton. So yeah.
Cool.
So thank you. Thank you again. Thank you so much for coming on, Bart. It's been a total pleasure.
Excellent, Al.
And
Thank you.
yeah, guys, if you want to check them out, please do. Please check them out. I know Lisa Boo has been posting out the links to Bart's social media, so go check them out. So, guys, until next time, we'll catch you all later.
See you guys here. I'll give you we call this a spin out on deck. So when we're going out, we give a drumstick spin. It's called a spin out. I had to play some